to the SHAC Shack. Safe, happy and creative. Stay home and craft. My name's Barbara Gray from Clarity here over in England. Welcome. And we're going to get together and do some doodling on our ammonites. And I hope that you're in the building with me. Of course, I'm going head to head with my dear friend Paul over on Create and Craft this morning. And so he's just about to sell out of some beautiful, superb, easy layout Groovy plates. So if you haven't got yours yet, I forgive you for popping over there to see what that's all about. And then you know I'm here until 11 o'clock. So good morning, come on in. And it's nice to have your company. So Paul's up in the TV studios. So our dear friend Jilly is going to be with you. And if you have any questions or if you're looking for anything, then Jilly's the person to ask. And how are you? Hey, how are you? Sorry about Monday. It was a real mind game on Monday. And it got resolved, as most things do if you let them. You know, things take care of themselves usually if you let them. And so I leapt into action with Paul and Dave and my brother, and we found a good solution. And I tell you what happened, you know, it was about 5 minutes before we went live. Because my dad, you know, he's been in hospital, and we'd found, because he wasn't really ready to go home, he still needed help, but the system is caving, and so they wanted to discharge him. So we'd found a really nice place for him where he could go for a couple of weeks, a kind of a respite, you know, just to a little bit more tender loving care and nursing, because he needs some nursing. And then just before I went live on Monday, I got the phone call to say that they couldn't take him because he needed more nursing than they were able to give him. Boom. And I'd told Dad after 3 weeks he was coming out on Tuesday. But here's the good news. We got him out on Tuesday. Cool. Talk about Operation Exit. We leapt into action, I can tell you. And we found a fabulous place for him. So he's enjoying the Kentish sunshine in Tunbridge Wells, in a very lovely place. And he's getting the nursing care that he needs at the moment. You know, we need to build him up, you know, and the situation, you know, with nurses coming into the home, that's where it all went wrong to start with. So I'm not going to put him back in the situation that failed him, you know, and it gives Mum a break, and it's all good now. But you can imagine on Monday, I was just trying to figure out how on earth we were going to get Dad out of the hospital and get him looked after. And it worked. You see, living in the solution. And breathe. Eh? I know. It is never the event, but how you respond to it that will ultimately affect you. Yeah, I can hear you. She always says that. Well, it works. It truly does. So there we go. I couldn't resist these new plates. Can't wait to get them. Well, I'm so glad to hear that, Karen. They are so lovely. And the layout, you know, I mean, even in the shack, when we're working in the shack together, it's always the composition, isn't it? It's like we deal with the art and less about the finished product, because we see it as this kind of doodle, you know, doodling and being kind to the mind, you know, a bit of yoga for the head. But of course, when you're making cards or you want to complete a card, then a layout or a composition is a really great thing to work towards. And these Linda Williams plates are sublime. I love the infills. I love not just the actual the shapes, the layout plates, but what's in the layout plates. So cool. Good news, Barbara. Yes, it is good news, Catherine. Thank you. Rainy Düsseldorf. Grüß dich, Gisela. Rainy Düsseldorf. I have to tell you, the weather is very nice here. Very nice. Very sunny. In fact, we're headed into quite a warm weekend, aren't we? Yes, we are. So that'll be nice. Bit of sunshine. Just to sit in the sun, you know. I took Dad for a little walk through the grounds. Beautiful, beautiful home, and this nursing place, and we just sat in the sun for 5 minutes. And having been in a hospital in the darkest corner of a hospital ward with 5 other people for 3 weeks, you could see the sun just, you know, he enjoyed it immensely. So so when we finish today, I think I shall head over there and perhaps spend a little bit more time in the sun with him. It's good for us, apparently. Not too much, but everything in moderation, eh? So there you go. That was me being truthful about what was going on in my little life on Monday, mine and my family's, you know, and I'm sure you understand. So I thought today we'd crack on with the ammonite. Wasn't that lovely, that the white work? If you're new and you're just surfing the net and you're wondering what on earth I'm talking about, well, we started out a couple of weeks ago. And the reason I keep recapping is because all of these doodles and all of these little art gathering sessions, I'm not going to call them tutorials because it's more than that, isn't it? It's different to that. We start out with a blank piece, didn't we? We started out with a blank piece of parchment, didn't we? Designer parchment. Here it is. And then we doodled an ammonite on it. Let me just show you, just in case you're wondering what on earth this chick's talking about. I'm going to tell you. Right, so for example, we started out with a piece of designer parchment. Then we started doodling onto said piece of designer parchment and rubbing out with our white eraser pencil and getting the highlights, because you can take the colour out of the parchment. And then, of course, we really went to town, didn't we? Look at that. Hey, I'm not going to cut it up. I haven't finished it yet. But you see, we did the gems up here. I haven't done this bit yet. But what a nice piece of art. And there are so many lovely, lovely pieces of art of yours on Clarity Worldwide. Congratulations. You know, I mean, there are no judges in this room, and it's not a competition, you know, not at all, not at all. You know, there's no, oh, hers is better than mine. You know, there's always going to be somebody better, but that's not what this is about. There's always going to be somebody better than me. I know that going into it. My job's not to be the best. My job's just to drive the bus, friends. So this is what we were doing. And well done to everybody who's pursuing this. And then what I did was I thought, right, well, let's doodle that same kind of ammonite onto tracing paper. So we drew it on a bit of copy paper, different sizes. And then we transferred it to tracing paper. So that's easy enough. So now we can transfer that art to our watercolor pads. So what we did, right, looky. I know, hey. So what we did was, though, instead of drawing in dark on we really lightly transferred the line art, didn't we? So this is what we did on Monday. We really lightly transferred the line art, and then we went over it with the white pens, the white paint pens, the Posca pens, because I'd made a little discovery that these, they resist watercolor ink, watercolor paint. So you get this really, really nice effect. And of course, so we were working on 2 different ones, and I've done a bit more. The more watercolor you add, the whiter it comes, you see. So what we were doing was we were bouncing between this one and that one, because you need to let it kind of dry in between layers. And then I thought, oh, I've got another idea. So then I thought, I know what to do. We'll transfer. So I thought, because you've got to let the layers dry in between, I thought, well, let's try something different. So then I transferred to a watercolor pad. Okay, we sell these. I think they might even be are they in the sale, Julie, if you're a club member? Because we've got a half price sale going on at the moment. So we've got these wonderful watercolor pads. I think they're in the sale. And we've got these beautiful little journals. These are lovely. Let me show you. Watercolor journals. You know, if you want to write poetry or keep a little arty diary. Let me show you. These are really nice. Well wrapped, I tell you. Petite journal, we call this, right? This is also top quality watercolor. Are they in the sale, Jilly? Right. And then when you, I want to take this off, but I'll have to tear it. That's it. And you can see you've got these lovely, look, it's lovely. And it's also perforated along here. So if you want to take one out, you can. Both large and small in the sale. What I love about these as well is there's a little pouch at the bottom. Look at the back. A little pouch for I don't know, photos or bits of notes or I don't know. It's lovely anyway. And then there's a closing. So that, look, clarity stamp. Isn't that nice? Our Bridge to Art session. This is all part of our Bridge to Art collection, which is really what this is about, isn't it? The shack, apart from keeping each other company and hanging out and staying sane during turbulent times, we're also honing our art skills, aren't we? Yeah, so this is part of that. And I thought that it would be really nice. So I did a really light pencil one, and then I'll show you how to stain. So rather than wandering out beyond and doing the reveal, it's kind of in reverse. But then I thought what we could do once we've done all the colour and made it really made it pop with the dark pencil line, then we could go over it with a white Posca pen, you see? So rather than do the Posca pen first, we'll do it this way around. So you've got two different styles going on here. You've got one that's really, I was talking to Jim about it earlier. This is kind of stylized or, yeah, really nice, almost graphic. And it's talking about how a section of an ammonite possibly would look. That's what we're aiming for here. Whereas this one, it's more the texture and how a section of an ammonite would more feel. This one's feely to me, and this one's more visual, And Jilly says, the petite one is great for your handbag to use in those waiting rooms or on the bus. There you go. That's not a bad idea, dear Jilly, because I've been thinking that I often am sitting in waiting rooms, and it might be nice just to doodle, just to doodle. Yeah. Put some ideas down, some words. I did start one, didn't I, when we were doing that straddling do you remember the verses with the flowers when we wrote in the gaps? That was lovely. Oh, well, I must have that somewhere. I'll have to look for it. Right, so this is what we're going to do now, friends. All right, but we'll get this one started. While that's drying, we'll just bounce between the two. Okay, because otherwise it really is like watching paint dry. And what are we going to use? Okay, so you need a tracing paper. So we should have this already on tracing paper, so we can transfer that. We need a pencil, HB, any pencil you fancy. And then I took these out just so that I wouldn't grab the B pencils. I'm going to use the Aquarelle Pergoliners. They're our watercolor pencils. So you've got 20 Aquarelle pencils and 16 basic ones, right? So we've got a choice of 20 different colours. Thing is, I say 20 different colours. That's rubbish. You've got 20 different colours, which, when blended with each other, create an exponential number of colours. Okay, just the light blue with varying degrees of black will give you an inordinate number of blues. The light blue with a little bit of yellow will give you, depending on how much yellow you add, loads of different greens. You see, so you haven't just got 20 colours, you've got 20 colours to start working with. Right, so I put them in my lid so that I don't inadvertently go to the B pencils. And what I mean by that is these are the ones with black writing on, and then the ones with white writing on. See, they look the same, but they've got white writing on, and that means that they're wax-based. They don't respond to water, they respond to oil, oily. Right, so I've done that. I've got my white glasses. I've got that to go between, and then I've got that one which we're going to go to now. I'll start with you though. I won't start halfway through the film. I'm gonna start with you. So we need watercolor pad, and then we need, gosh, this looks like my kitchen. We need a water brush. So get a water brush. We need a water brush, some of that, paper towel, watercolor. This is what I'm looking for. Mix mat. A mix mat. This is great for the watercolor, to blend the colors and also to protect your pencils. So we're going to use that. Right, let's get my act together here. Right, it suddenly got warm in here. Let me just put the fan on. Oh, got a fan underneath the table. Oh, that's delightful. Oh, I've got some big news. Really good news. When I made that cheeky little giggle, I remembered Gracie, my daughter Grace, beautiful Grace, in New York. She just completed her first Audible book. I know, yeah, and it's a big deal. It's a big deal. I think it's like HarperCollins or Penguin or one of the big publishers. Okay. And so she's been in the recording studios in New York, in Manhattan, for 3 days solid now. And the name of the book, okay, and it's a little bit racy. She said, it's a little bit racy in places, Mum. I said, I can do racy. She said, it's a little bit, 50 Shades of Greyish. I said, all right. She said, I've told Dad he's not allowed to read it. I said, okay. And she said, what? And I said, well, I know at least 1,000 women will really enjoy it. And when I tell them, right? And I bet you're going, well, what's the name of the book then? What's the name of the book? It's a little bit racy though, apparently Grace says. So you've been warned. You can, if you do Audible, okay, it's already available. It's going to be launched in August, and it's called Aphrodite, clues in the name really, Aphrodite and the Duke. I can't even tell you who the author is, but if you look up Aphrodite and the Duke, the reader of that book that is being released in August is our Grace Gray from Clarity. I know, I can't wait. And apparently the director said she was brilliant. She was born for the job, he said. Not as Aphrodite, but as the voice of Aphrodite. I know. Isn't that good news? Yeah, so here's to new beginnings for her too, Doesn't mean she's going to quit Clarity, but it means that she can actually pursue what she's qualified to do. Did you know that she's the voice of BBC America as well? She does often I listen to commercials and that on television, and I think, oh, that's Grace, like Downey and she's got that lovely voice, hasn't she? And so it's often when I'm listening to television, I hear my daughter's voice on a commercial. Yeah, I know. Cool, isn't it? Anyway, so should we get on with this artwork? It was just when I put the fan on and I got a nice little flutter of cool air between my legs, I remembered Aphrodite and the Duke. Naughty. It's all right. A little bit of spice up your life. We can do spice. I said to Grace, do you know our customers? Do you know, we may be older, we may be more mature, but that doesn't mean that a lot of us, haven't had adventures of our own. Let's call it that. There you go. Jilly says, if I can get through 50 Shades and Bridgerton, I'll manage. And Grace said that this is like Bridgerton and 50 Shades together. And it's only like 50 Shades in parts, not all the way through. I really like Bridgerton anyway. I bet it'll get made into a film. Anyway, come on, Barbara, stop waffling. Let's get this done. Have you got your Aphrodite? Have you got your Aphrodite? Have you got your ammonite? Have you got your ammonite? Do you know, I've just thought, nightwear. Wouldn't that be a great Aphrodite ammonite? Wouldn't that be? If you saw that in Marks and Spencer's, you'd buy it, wouldn't you? Aphrodite ammonite. She's losing it again. Come on, stop. Right, come on, let's get this done. Get a pencil and let's just lay down our ammonite. Sorry, Ken. I bet Ken, if Ken's in the room, he'd be blushing. Nah, he's a big boy. Well, steady, Barbara. He's a grown-up. Oh, it's getting worse. Right, okay. Let's just transfer one of these to a watercolor piece of paper, because what we're doing here is we're enjoying the bus trip and we're learning. This is our learning, you know, how to develop a new technique. I mean, if you know, I always think one's for test and one's for best. Now, hopefully, I just want to transfer this ammonite. Can't stop saying that now. Right, let's have a look. Let's make sure. Yeah. There you go. Looks like a snail. Now, what I want to do, though, I can lose that now. What I can do is take my pencil and I can put, because we're just going to put sections in here. Look, let me just show you. If I do that like that, see, we're just going to put sections in. So that way I can show you what we're doing. So, for example, now, let's do this. So, is anybody on two screens? Is anybody watching Paul as well? Tell me. Have they sold out? We added loads of stock. We even added extra stock last night quickly. Poor old Steve, he's going like the clappers at the moment. We did, because we didn't see it coming as quickly as it did. So we thought, oh no, we better keep going. But now it's gone, it's too much. We can't cope with the overload. So when it's gone, it's gone. And what we have to do then is just regroup. It'll be fine. See, the thing is, once we've sold on television, we also have to make it. Well, it's already made, but we also have to send it out. So it comes from here, you know. It doesn't come from television. It comes. Sharon downstairs is the one picking and packing that little lot. And in a minute, Jilly's going to jump into action and help her, I imagine. So you have to kind of pace yourself. You know, it's all well and good selling, but you've got to kind of keep your eye on your team and think, well, can they cope with this at the moment? You know, can Steve cope? The plates all need cleaning. There are they all need cleaning and packing and inspecting and blah, blah. There's a lot more involved than just stack it high and sell it cheap, you know? Yeah. So there we are. So now we've got our sections, right? Let's have a look. There you go. We've got our sections. And now let's take a little look at this. And let's have a look at this. Let's take this one out of the way. Right, that's our little ones. Okay, I don't want to lose those because they're good templates. And now what we're going to do, right, you've got your watercolor. Let's get going. Got watercolor. We're going to use, let's call it a wash, right? And what we'll do is we'll do this wash, and then while that's drying, we'll bring in this one and we'll add a little bit of depth again. See where I've gone in with the grey and the black? It's a black wash over the top. It suddenly starts to really, don't be covering it up there. You want to keep some white. Isn't it lovely? Hey. So what we're going to do now is take our pencils. Okay, I picked a selection of colours. You can pick any colours you like. You just need to make sure that they're the A pencils. Okay, the A ones. There you go. Pick any ones you fancy, and then what we're going to do, let me make a suggestion. Ich schlage vor. We're going to work across like this. So I've got blue, and I've got a blue. I've got a pink, kind of very light pink. I've got a yellowy colour. I didn't use mustard yellow. I used the A18, which is more of an ochre. That's this one. And then I used a green. And just in case, because there are plenty of different greens, I used the 16. So I used 5, 10, 16, and 18. There you go. Those are the 4 that I used. You can pick any colour you fancy. This is quite a nice one as well, 11, if you wanted to use it. But you see, we can use those colours to get more depth going. And you're going to need your black. So you might as well bring your black in and your white, because they lighten and darken, don't they? Let's use those as well. We'll start with the, right, let's get that out of the way, because I'm going to be turning. I'm turning my artwork. And what we're going to do is work in a band. So I've got 4 colours, 4 base colours to start with: blue, yellow, pink, and green. Right? I'm going to scribble some blue there, like that. I do one colour at a time. Okay. So we've done this so many times in the shack, but just in case you're new to us, you see, this isn't really a good. I don't think so. I can only speak for myself and from my experience. And I used to work closely with Faber-Castell, which to my mind are the Rolls Royce of the pencil world. And one thing I know is this: if you go directly to the pencil, the water, you get a really intense colour at the time, but over a period of time, the water, it seeps down the shaft, and then you go to sharpen it and it starts to crumble because you've softened it, you've compromised it. So you see, in order to do that, for me, my rule's always been, and again, it's only my rule, it's not yours, it's mine. I keep these dry. Even though they're water pencils, I keep them dry, and they last. They last because I keep them dry. So if I deposit the colour there, let's have a look. I'll put a bit of water there now, right? And then I'm going to just dissolve the watercolour pigment. There you go, look. So I've got, and if I want a real wash, see how light it is at this end? So you've got water here, and then you've got a real wash there, like that. So what we're going to do is almost like we're putting down what one calls a glaze in watercolour. Well, a glaze would be clear water. I'm going to put down a really light blue glaze. Okay. There you go. See it moving? And so that we don't completely saturate our work, I've always got like a bit of tissue paper. I mean, you don't have to have the whole roll, Barbara. That is a bit excessive. Lots of multitasking. You, Paul, and doodling. Well, I love to hear it. How's he doing? How's it going? Hey? What a good fella he is. Right, so we've got some blue, and then what we're going to do, if we want it a bit bluer, just come down, just pull it down. Let's have a look. Yeah, okay. And it's wet. Don't be afraid to put the glaze in the area. See, I'm using a tiny bit of blue so you can see it better. Do you see? And I'm not worried about leaving a bit of white either. Right, now take that again. Now, do I want to do the second one blue? Yeah, why not? There you go. So that's one of the things about the water brushes. They don't dry, it's cool. There you go. So we've got blue. Now I'm going to turn around a bit further because I'm using different colours. There's no method in my spacing here. I'm just going randomly. I like the blue ones. Let's do another blue there. There you go. Just establishing the game. But you see how I'm turning? So that really helps when you turn. Right, I think I'm going to go blue here as well. There you go. Blue there. And if it's darker or patchy, don't worry about it. There's going to be plenty of patchy. It's going to be very patchy. Don't worry about that. All we're doing here is laying down some colour. Okay, just so that we know. Got to put down some sort of tone, haven't you? Otherwise you won't know what to go over the top with. So that looks good. I think we'll put another one. Yeah. Let's have a look. Like that. So you're doodling with me? Are you? Good. Be kind to the mind. There you go. That's my mantra today. There. So we've got blues. Do you think we could do with another blue? Well, I've got 4 colours. So look. All right, that will do it for now. Okay, so we just squish that out. So we've got clean pen. I'm just using the one pen for the whole thing. Right, now let's go to a different colour. I can always go back and add a bit of blue because I'm not going to wipe that away. I'm coming down to the next band here. Is that okay? The bundle has sold out. Right, little round of applause for Paul on telly, Create and Craft. Well done, Paul. Way to go. Good. That's good news. That's good news. Very good news. Thank you. Thank you so much. If you did invest in the bundle, we appreciate it. We sure do. And they're such fabulous plates. They're so beautiful. Yeah. Really lovely. Now let's have a look. So we've done the blue. So my guess is I think I'd like to go now. I'd like to go to the pinky colour. So let's put pink in. So if they go into each other, they go quite nicely. So this is the number 10. I like this sort of fleshy colour. Right, is that clean? Yeah. Right, so we put a bit of clean there. All right. And then we'll see how light this is. This is quite a light one. Let's have a go. Okay, let's start again on the outside. Okay. There you go. It's quite. Get that water down. So if you put a glaze down, what that means in watercolor speak, if you put a glaze down, it means that if you want to, say you're doing your watercolor painting and you want the color to stay within an area like we do here, then you wet it, you put a glaze down, and then while that's wet, then of course it follows that the color will. So you put a clear glaze down, and then when you put the color down, it moves really nicely in that spot. The water acts as the water on the paper acts as a kind of carrier. You see, it's really nice. Now let me have a little peep of where I've gone. Okay, just so that you can see what we're doing here. So I've already put a couple of layers down. It's going to be lovely though. Do you know, to be honest, when you're doing this kind of yoga for the mind, just switching off from all the turmoil outside in the big wide world, You know, when you're doing this, I mean, we have the added bonus that we're doing something lovely at the same time, something creative, right? But the truth of it is that we have to focus on something other than all the things that worry us. You know, I think it's good for the head, and it's about, that's the whole point of it. It is the point of it. Whatever it is you do, you know, I kind of had a bit of an epiphany the other day, and it was about the point of things, you know, because I'm always saying, when we're in the shack together, I'm always saying, concentrate on the tip of this, concentrate on the pencil, concentrate on the pen, just focus on the point that you're working with. You see, as soon as I focus on this, the point of this brush, right, then all my energy and thoughts, I can't think about other things. This is the whole mindful process, really. I can't think about other things while I'm concentrating on this brush and staying in the lines. Do you see? So it's so obvious. Now, if I were to say, focus on your breathing, then you're focusing on that point. You see? Then you're focusing on that point. Or if I said, you're focusing on the air going in the nose and out the mouth, or the other way around. Or say I said, focus on a flower, just look at the petals, look at the leaves. This is all mindfulness, isn't it? Do you see what I'm getting at? I mean, that's nice for the pink, isn't it? And so the thing about what we're doing here, it's like a meditation. It's a total meditation. When you get into it, the only thing is I keep talking. But even a guided meditation, people talk you through it and breathe and sit and hold your legs, well, not hold your legs apart, sit with your legs comfortably apart with your feet at 5 to 1 and relax your shoulders. You know, I think I might apply for a job as a therapist. And it's the same thing, you know, and take your pencil. Look, I'm going to put my velvety voice on now. Hang on. Let me decide what colour I want to go with first. Okay, we'll go with the yellow one now. Right, so the ochre colour. So take your pencil and just release some pigment gently onto your mix mat. Now, take your water and dispense a tiny amount of clear water at the other end. Now, using the same water, gently dissolve the pigment into a yellow pool. Now move that water. Have I got the job yet? Into the clear pool. And you see slowly the colour dissolves into the water. Right, yellow. Okay. So we're going to pop down this layer of yellow, light yellow. But I make my point. You understand what I mean. So when we're doing this, and when you're working on your own, and I remember last week, I think it was Val Hodgson, she did that immaculate work, you know, with the ammonite. And she said, I spent all day doing it. I didn't do the ironing, I didn't do the laundry, I didn't do this and I didn't do that. She said, I just spent the whole day immersed in doing this art, which was what inspired me then, because she gave me loads of ideas, you know. But my point is that I bet she felt great afterwards, you know, just to spend that kind of time focusing on one point. I think I'm no psychiatrist, but I reckon that that's how you clear your mind. Because if you're not focused on a point, this is how I see this. While I'm focused on a point, I'm concentrated on one point. When I'm not focused on a point, if I'm just sitting, staring, not focused, my mind's going darting from pink to yellow to blue to, it's just jumping all over the place, right? From that thought to that thought to that thought to that person to that problem to that bill to that to that to that. And so in the end, you're just jumping around. You're not focused on one point. And so your thoughts are scattered. Your thoughts are scattered. And that's got to be unnerving, or I wouldn't say distressing, but you understand, as opposed to focused on one particular thing. All I'm worried about is the yellow now, right? And then I'm going to go to the green, and I'm looking at my ammonite. Here we are. So we pop the green in now. Which green did I use? A16. That's the one we're using from the pergoliners. Jilly, I have another question. Are the pergoliners in the sale? They must be. Have a look. Right, so we're going to add water at this end. See, if there's a little bit of yellow in the water, excuse me, it won't affect the green really, will it? Let's have a look. Because pound for pound, dollar for dollar, these are pretty good, They really are. There you go. And treat yourself to a set of the mix mats as well if you haven't got. They do not make a difference. Right, so I reckon, yeah, nice. Now, I want it to be a bit watery to put down the glaze, if you like. So we'll start on the outside again. And let's have a look what we've got. Yeah, lovely. A bit more water just to pull it through. See, I would argue that it's impossible to worry about things if you're focused on... I bet that's, you think about needlepoint, or sewing as well. I mean, when you're concentrating on sewing a seam, or, sewing in a straight line, or quilting, or it doesn't matter what it is you're doing, does it? Really? It concentrates your mind on one point. And as long as you're concentrating on one point, your thoughts can't be scattered. There you go. Maybe that's why crosswords, for example, they work well too for me. I like crosswords. They focus the mind. Anagrams, I love anagrams, don't you? They focus the mind. Look, let me just show you. If I go in now, over the top where it's dry, see how you can start to get depth? I'm going in on the wet one, so really shouldn't, but I'm just going to show you. See how you can get the stain just on those couple. Well, you see what I'm saying? So now imagine when this is dried a little bit. I mean, we could go round. Let's have a... What's the time? Oh, yeah. Let's go round one more while we've got this here, and let's put another layer. Right, so the only thing I do need to do, though, because I'm going to go back to the blue now. I just need to clean my water. Oh, I've still got plenty. Right, now I'm going to go into there. Let's add a bit more water up there. You see what I'm doing, okay? Pergoliners are not in the sale, but there is a special offer on them. Well, there you go. There's a special offer on them. And if you're a club member, you get your discount anyway, don't you? Oh, there you go. Right, don't want to make it too dark. And I wouldn't start on the biggest, most glaring one, just in case it doesn't look so good. Let's go on one that wouldn't matter so much. And let's just add, see, that's quite dark grey. So water it down a bit. I said water it down a bit. Hand-eye coordination. Don't want it that dark. Blotting, blotting, blotting. Okay. Don't want it that dark. See if I can lift it off again. See if I can lift it. Let me get the clean brush. See if I can lift it. Come on. That's all right. It will dry lighter. Don't sweat the small stuff. Right. So I want to go in with a little bit less blue. We can build the layers, can't we? There you go. That's more like it. See? So then I can go in with a darker colour and go in over the top. There we are. So you want, yeah, you've got to concentrate. Focus. Focus. There, you see? You do a bit of watery blue. It's going to look good. That won't matter because just fast forwarded a bit. Just did 2 layers in one, really. So you're going to go into that area there and then just pull it down randomly through the colour block, you see? So like that. Do you want to have a look at the one that we've already done? There you go, so you can see what we're up to. See, in here. There you go, look. As soon as you add another layer, bosh. See, like that. You get in there, and then it's cool, isn't it? And then just pull it out with the brush. And because the brush is damp, it moves it for you. So I've already moved to the other page now, just to show you. Just want to show you how it works. That's all. What we're trying to achieve. See how you could get. And what you have to know is that in a minute, a few layers on, we're going to make the line art white, because I think that's going to look sharp. There you go. I put a bit of black in that one already. A bit dirty. Dirty. Bit 50 Shades of Grey there. Cool. I tell you what, I can't wait to listen to that book, Gracie. Because Grace lives in New York, she's 5 hours. She's always full of beans when I'm ready to go to bed. She is. So usually at 10 o'clock at night when I'm ready to turn in, I've got Grace FaceTiming, you know, full of beans because she's just come out of the recording studio last night. I'd cleaned my teeth and got into bed. And then I had Grace, you know, oh, I'm so excited, Mum. Oh, I can't believe it. This is so brilliant. It was like, you know, so you wake up again, don't you? And I'm so proud of her. I'm so proud of her. Now, let me see. Which one am I on? That's the one that we're working on, 2nd gen. This is the one. Yeah. So we speak most days. We actually do, Grace and I. But it's usually late at night when I'm ready to turn in. And she's full of beans. It's all good. It's all good. I wouldn't have it any other way. There, you see. So what we're doing now is we're adding another. It's a bit of a stain, isn't it? And this is where you can really, you become the artist now. And you can focus. Look, see? It's going to be so nice. And now I'm really focusing or concentrating on the point. Before I was just washing through. Now I'm really looking very carefully at where I'm laying down. See, and I'm going into the darker area of my palette. See? So I can go in there and then I can pull it down. There you go. You make patches and blotches and isn't it cool? There you go, look. Bit of darkness there. It's going to be really nice. Look. Just concentrate, just focus your eye on those two there. Now imagine another 3 or 4 generations. It's very, very nice. Yes, it is. And then, you see, what we're going to do is, I'll just bring this one into play. Don't neglect this one. We haven't finished with this one yet. This is the one. What I'm doing here now, I mean, I've overcooked it just to show you where we're headed. But for example, on this one, it's going to be washes darker and darker around the outside. But I mean, I'm already in love with that. I don't know how much more I want to do with it, but we'll be pulling this one in when this one's drying, you know. There you go. Add a bit more blue, so it's not quite so dark. And don't be worrying about leaving white areas, because that's key. It's nice when you can leave a natural white area rather than have to put one back in again, you know. You can, but you know what I mean. So there you go, my friends. I was thinking about this, you know, because I know the benefits of this kind of thing, you know. It's not expensive, is it? You need a mix mat, you need some watercolor, you need a watercolor. I did try this. Let me tell you, the bus driver had a go on normal paper, on designer, not on designer card, on stencil card. I had to go because I thought maybe you would want to try that. Watercolor paper sure does make a difference. Because I thought, well, you know, you might. It was worth trying, wasn't it? So I did try it, and then I thought it just moves and flows so much more beautifully on watercolor that it's a far more enjoyable experience, you know. So for the sake of a watercolor pad, that's my own opinion, right? And also it's got a kind of a grit because it's got texture. It's got like a built-in grit, you know, like texture to it. Purchase as well. Right, I'm going to add a little bit more of that pink. Let's see what we got. Bit of water, bit darker pink. So we're going to add another layer of the darker pink. When you look at that one, you can see I've gone in with another pink, which I have. I went in with there was another, like a fuchsia pink in the box too. But I want to go in with the lighter colour first. Start on the outside and work your way around. Great. Okay. Bit too light. All I'm adding is water there. Let's see. Now we're cooking. Right, see? Super, isn't it? And why don't we add a little bit around the bottom there to add a bit of... Is it coming together? Can you see what I'm up to? Right, let's get that colour in. So we're going to pop some of that depth in there. Bring that down the sides. And then maybe bring a little bit round here too. There you go. It's cool, isn't it? It's easy too. There we are. So Julie tells me we have a bundle of the 2 watercolour pads. Do we? Well, there you go then. So we've got a bundle of the 2 watercolour pads. That's this one I'm using and the little baby one. With water brushes and a mix mat on special offer too. Julie, have you got the link for that then? That'd be brilliant, because then you've got everything you need. We're coming round the corner. Go to the pink. Think about this as well. And do you remember when we first started in the shack? I kept saying, it's not over yet. We haven't finished yet. We haven't, because sometimes when you're working on something like this, it doesn't look particularly exciting until about 3 layers in. And sometimes it doesn't look particularly exciting until several layers in. You know, when we did this on Monday and I showed you the reveal, I was just showing you the purpose of the Posca pen, that it acts as a resist. But I mean, we're not anywhere near at that point. It's not exciting. When you get to this layer, then you start to see the purpose of it, you know. And I think there's something really, I find it very rewarding when you're building on something. Well, it's like a quilt. I mean, Jilly, she's an amazing quilter, like fabulous. She for our wedding present, Jilly gave us a superb quilt for our bed, and we use it every day. It's a phenomenal quilt, just a beautiful thing. But so you see, multi-talented Jilly. But the quilt wouldn't have looked like the masterpiece that it is, and until at least, God, I don't know how many hours, Jilly, would you work on a quilt before it actually started looking like something that you would put on your bed? Tell us, please do. I bet there are other quilters in the building that know exactly what I'm talking about. Hey, tell us how long would you say you have to invest in a quilt before it starts to look remotely like, and how much money as well? They're not cheap, are they? Quilt pieces and all the fabric and the cloth and the cutting and the sewing and the padding and it must cost 100 hours. Do you mean, Julie? 100 hours before it really 100 hours. That's dedication. Do you mean 100 hours, love? She just put up 100 in the text here. That's, you got to have vision, haven't you, if you're going to do that? You've got to have vision. Let's put a bit of pink in there now. You can see why I was staying in strips now, can't you, as well? And you can see now why I'm kind of going in darker. There, look, and this nice. So you can see you're getting your depth in there. Now let's go to. Are you enjoying this? Come on then. What should we go to now? The yellow one. Blue. Now we go to the yellow one. Right. And so we take some of the darker yellow and we create a darker wash. 100 hours and about £200 in materials. Blimey. There you go. And I bet you don't see what you're doing until well into the latter half of that, like into hour 90 or 95. Hey? There, that looks good, doesn't it? See, so you turn it, get a bit of a wash going. See, if you put a wash down, you watch the difference. If I put a bit of a wash down first, a glaze, let's call it, keep it straight. Then when I put the darker colour down, it just moves, it glides. There's flow. There you go. See? You want to add a bit more? In you go. Just add a bit more of the... So you can sort of decide where you want to put your darker layer and then go in and the layer, look, see? Isn't that cool? Then if you want to water it down a bit, then you can. Just go in and swoosh it around a bit. That's it. It's nice, isn't it? There you go. Nice, eh? You can always just squish out the water. Yeah, so there you go. So Paul's on telly and 2 o'clock. Well, I don't know what, well, maybe. I don't know if we've sold out. We don't usually sell out. So this is, we used to back in the day all the time, couldn't keep up. But nowadays we tend to keep going as much as we can. But at the moment, it's more than we can handle. So we have to take a step back and regroup. There you go. Then this look good. Yeah, so Paul's on 10 to 11 and then maybe he'll be back at 2 or maybe he'll be coming home early. There you go. Doesn't that look pretty? And then And then we've got a couple of days off. Well, that's a funny thing to say, Barbara. What we've got then is a couple of days to clear the decks and get the orders out and sort that out. That's fine. That's a good thing. We're very grateful for all the business that's coming our way at the moment. There we go. Doesn't that look lovely? Yeah, we're getting there. Right, and finally, let's go to the green one, and then we'll call it a day. Green. I think I'm going to add a bit more of that dark green. A bit of water in the middle. That'll work. Let's get the colour going. Now, let's see what happens if we add green. Yay. There you go. Not too dark. I might use, you see where I go too dark? It doesn't matter because it doesn't matter at all. Just jump in a couple of layers. But if I go in with a light wash first, see, then I can go in with a slightly darker colour and it moves and it blends. It's easier. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm no expert. There are no experts in spoon. There certainly aren't any judges. I've only got O-level art, and that didn't go well. So please don't feel that I am the font of all knowledge, because I am not. In fact, I think that's one of my strengths, if I may say, is that I don't know the rules. I don't know the rules. So I've always had an open mind. I just had an inquiring mind. Because I was never taught the rules, I'm not sitting in a rule book. I just try and work it out for myself. Do you know what I mean? And I think often, when you learn the rules and the how to's and how not to's, that's okay to a point. But if you didn't, but the trouble is sometimes it makes you a bit blinkered. Do you know what I mean? If you learn that this is the right way and this is the only way, and there is no other way, then you're like this, aren't you? That's all you're looking at is that way, Whereas if you didn't read the rule book like me, then anything's possible, isn't it? The world's your oyster, as they say, And so I know that if there are watercolor artists, experts watching, sometimes they come along, they second guess me, and they say, "Oh, that's rubbish what you said there." And it's like, yeah, but hang on, it's rubbish in your rule book. It's not rubbish in my rule book. Works for me, That's the way it is, though, isn't it? And you're building your rule book, Just because Barbara says, it's not a Simon Says here, you'll work out an even better way, perhaps. My job is just to give you some ideas and show you how to be kind to your mind. And on that happy note, I'm going to love you and leave you. And on Monday, if it's okay with you, I'd like to continue with this and add another generation of shade to that. Is that okay? I think this is going to be delightful, absolutely delightful. At the weekend, if I get a chance, I may add another couple of generations of colour to this, and then Monday we'll start again, But it may come in a little bit darker than this, and all I'm doing is repeating what I've been doing 2 times, maybe 3 times, another little layer of darker stain, another little layer of shade, 50 Shades of Grey. Now, don't forget, if you're an Audible fan, what's the name of the book? Aphrodite and the Duke. And if you can't remember, think of ammonite, Marks and Spencer's new range. Aphrodite, ammonite. Lots of love. Have a great weekend and make something. Just make something beautiful and focus on it, because that's the whole point. Lots of love. And thanks, Jilly, for a great session.